Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Leah Genovese and I'm a member of the lecture committee at the Siam Society. Welcome to the Siam Society. Before I introduce tonight's speaker, I will give brief details about events at the Siam Society in the next few weeks. All talks start at 7 p.m. unless otherwise stated. Next week, on Thursday the 17th, we have Nation and Representation, Western Filmmaking in Siam from 1908 to 1938, a talk by Dr. Alexander Clem. The following Tuesday, 22nd of October, we have Retranslation, Final Unfinished Portrait, a talk by Peter Wells, who will present extracts from his works. Halloween, you have a date with one of our speakers. On Thursday, the 31st of October, Ramayana, Footprints in Southeast Asian Culture and Heritage, a talk by Anita Bose. In November, we have 3 talks lined up. One on the 7th on the greatest story in global tourism history. This coincides with the upcoming 60th anniversary of the Tourism Authority of Thailand and Thai Airways International. On the 14th, a talk on contemporary design in Thailand. And on the 21st, Divine Encounters, Sacred Rituals and Ceremonies in Asia. While I'm here, I may as well tell you that on the 12th of December, it's my turn to be grilled. I'll be here talking about the Plain of Jars and particularly the recent inscription on UNESCO's World Heritage List. A couple of months ago, I was in Baku, in Azerbaijan, where I witnessed history being made. The Plain of Jars is now a World Heritage Monument. That same week, on Saturday the 14th of December at 2:30 p.m., we have a talk in Thai. 3 events are already confirmed for January 2020, 2 lectures and the screening on 1 documentary. And we also have a talk lined up for the 13th of February, Perspectives on Education for Democracy in a Global Age. So as you can see, it's quite a crowded calendar. Tonight's talk deals with the translation into English of a seemingly untranslatable Thai novel, The Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth. I think we will shortly have the Thai author in the audience, Kun Veeraporn. The arduous task of producing a smooth and seamless English version fell in the very capable hands of Kong Rithdee, Deputy Director of the Thai Film Archives. Kun Kong has been writing about art, film, literature and politics for the Bangkok Post and other English language publications for 24 years. He has translated over 80 movie screenplays and subtitles, and in 2014 was awarded the Chevalier dans l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres, Knight in the Order of Arts and Letters by the French government. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Kong Rithdee.
Swadee Kap. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the session today. And as Leah has said, I expect Kun Veeraporn, the writer of the book, to turn up at any moment because she said she would. So then you can ask for the autograph from her, which is more fitting. I was surprised but extremely honored when the Siam Society Committee asked me if I would like to say something about my translation of The Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth, because this is such an esteemed venue for respected scholars and professors. And make no mistake, I'm neither a scholar nor a professor, and I'm in no position to give a lecture to anyone about anything. I Google most of the things I'm going to talk about today, so you see. So please allow me to first make a brief introduction of how I came to be entrusted with the job of translating Saiduen ตาบอดในเขาวงกต The Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth by คุณ Veeraporn Nitiphrapha. I guess today I will talk about my process of translating the book, which is a pretty difficult book. Not at all untranslatable as the abstract of the talk has advertised. It doesn't exaggeration, obviously, for the purpose of bringing people to the session. I will also try to map out my own understanding of how language works, the Thai language, the English language, and the difference between the two. And probably we can talk about. Oh, she's here. คุณวีรพรนะครับ and we can also talk about the usual suspects in any discussion about translation, from loss in translation to the idea of faithfulness, accuracy, fidelity, liberty, context, subtext, and the impossibility of translating something that exists beyond words and into the real of something else, into the real of emotion or the metaphysics and things like that. So at first, a little bit about myself, as Leah has introduced me. I have to say a few things about myself because this is part of the whole story today. I started as a feature writer of the Bangkok Post in 1996. So for over 20 years, for about 23 years, I wrote about art, culture, film, feature stories, literature, and in the past 15 years or so, I also did many things on politics, especially my column in the op-ed section of the Bangkok Post. I think since 2006, and from 2016 to 2018, I was editor of the life section, which is the features and art section of the Bangkok Post. And then earlier this year, I left the full-time job at the Post, though I still write for them occasionally on a freelance basis. The reason for leaving the Post is too long. You can ask me later. It's too distracting to talk about it here. But as someone has noted earlier, most of the people have already left the Bangkok Post, and I think that's a very truthful observation. So currently, I am a deputy director of the Thai Film Archive, which is a state-funded agency working on preservation, film preservation and promotion of the film history and film culture to Thai audience. So that's my main job now. Have you been to the Film Archive? No? It's a little bit far out in Salaya, but I suggest you come visit us when you have time. It's a nice place. We have a museum and we have screenings, and we can talk more about film and literature over there. Okay, so over the past many years, I have done a lot of translation, but not novels. This is the first novel that I have translated, and I'm doing the second. Again, it's Kun Veeraporn's second novel, but it's going very slowly. So I hope you don't come here to put more pressure on me. I've done a lot of movie subtitles, movie scripts, some academic texts, a lot of not a lot, but commercial works like advertising copies, but a lot of movie scripts. Somehow people ask me to translate a lot of Thai movie scripts when they want to look for funding abroad. And I would say my success rate is quite impressive, because if the script goes through me, then they usually get the funding. Not because of me, of course, it's because of the script, but at least I can put that on my resume, that if you ask me to do a movie script, then it's likely that you will get the funding. So if you have a movie script, you can talk to me later. So, but a novel, literature, this is so big. This is something I've never done before, and so when Kun Veeraporn and the publisher, Mom Rachawong Narisa Chakapong, of river books. When they asked me if I would be interested in doing the Blind Earthworm, which is a very popular book in Thai, is a big bestseller among Thai audience. I don't know how many copies. I guess something over 100,000 copies or 200,000, which is very, very big, huge for a Thai novel, and a Sea Right Award winner to boot. So I was surprised to be offered such a major gig, but then I said, okay, let's try this. Let's do it, and well, we are here. Okay, so this is the Thai version, the original version. This is 2nd edition. No, 12th edition. I don't know how many edition the publisher has put out now, but like I said, it's a big bestseller here. So as I said, I was neither a scholar nor a theorist in translation. I'm not a chemist. I'm an alchemist, if I have to choose. I'm not an astronomer, but probably an astrologer, if I have to choose. So as you can tell, I speak with no accent. Neither Thai nor English accent. No Cambridge, Oxford, Boston accent. Neither a colonized or decolonized accent. I have no accent. Because I speak Thai all my life, and I grew up in a Thai household. My parents are Thai, my friends are Thai, my families are Thai, and I speak Thai my entire life from morning to night. So I'm tempted to say or to describe my approach to the English language, especially when I write, as a performance, a combination of mimicry, acquired knowledge, acquired spontaneity, and this is important. I think it's a deliberate camouflage of my non-speaking person quality. So in a way, I have to pretend, and I have to make sure that no one will catch me in the act of pretending when I speak or when I write. And hopefully, when I've done it long enough, I will not have to pretend anymore. I'm not sure if I have succeeded, but that's my approach to language. I've never studied abroad either. I studied at Assumption College, which is right next to my house in Jarangrung, and I went to Thai University. So, well, that's the background that I would like to share with you, because, as I said, it's part of the whole story. And I titled this talk. Okay, let me show you this first. This is the English cover of the book. Okay, the collage art by Kun Nakrop, who's very prolific in doing book cover design. I titled this talk, Do Translators Dream of an Electric Thesaurus? Okay, let's go back. Of course, I consciously make it sound a little bit melodramatic. And of course, it's a direct referencing of the Philip K. Dick's book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I'm sure you have heard of the book, right? Okay, I put a cover here, the sheep. This is a science fiction, which is the source of the film Blade Runner, starring Harrison Ford in the original version, and then you have Ryan Gosling in the new version, which came out last year or 2 years ago. So Blade Runner is a story. Do androids dream of electric sheep? And Blade Runner is a story about an android hunter and about androids that believe they have become human and refuse to be terminated. Right? The Harrison Ford is the android hunter. So Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep has nothing to do with the Blind Earthworm. They are at the opposite ends of the literary spectrum in terms of genre and sensibility and everything. But there's a reason, I think, that behind my choice of title for today's talk. As I said before, as a Thai-born, Thai-educated person, as someone who speaks Thai in my everyday life, As someone who never spent more than a week at a stretch in an English-speaking country, as someone who talks and discusses and swears and thinks in Thai, and because I'm all of this, I wonder if I can dream in English. Because only when you can dream in another language, when you can speak it or write it naturally. So, because the language you speak in your dream is the language that connects straight to your brain, in your consciousness and your subconscious being. So am I an android who can only pretend to speak English, an android who refuses to be terminated, an android who can only dream of electric sheep, meaning as long as I cannot dream in English, then is it possible for me to translate a big literary work such as this book into English? So this is a linguistic and, philosophical, metaphysical question. And I thought about it a lot when I was doing the book, and I was forced to think about it when I was asked to do this talk, because I never thought I would have to explain my process of working in public like this. Do I have to dream in English first before being eligible to translate something like the Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth? Okay. As I wrote in the translator's note of the English version, there are harder Thai texts that have been translated with such accuracy and flawless scholarship. For example, Ajahn Chris and Ajahn Pasuk's translation of Kun Chang Kun Pan, for instance. I didn't just make this up now because Ajahn Chris and Ajahn Pasuk are here with us. I put this here in the note. And also Marcel Barang, his translation of Kun Danaran Sangtong's novels are brilliant. And I have just read an early copy of the translation of Angkan Kalayanapong's poetry done by Annika Furman of Cornell University, and I don't think I could ever match any of these people's deep understanding of the text, both in Thai and in English. And yet the text of the Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth poses a great challenge to any translator. These challenges are textual, contextual, subtextual, as well as cultural and stylistic. Then, as I go deeper into the book, there's also the question of intent, or the deep meaning of the text. What is this book really about? What is Veeraporn trying to say in the novel? Is it a soap opera, or a literary upgrade of the soap opera tradition? Is it a subtle sarcasm of soap opera, or is it a way of smuggling political allusion into the story, into a very mundane love story? To translate is to convey words from one language to another, but to me, the practice is also akin to telepathy, to my reading. And because I have to interpret the author's intention hidden in the plot, the prose, the style, under all the visible literary elements. So to simply put, to describe the plot in a few minutes, this novel is a story of a love triangle. Two sisters are in love with the same man, an orphan musician and childhood friend. One of the sisters, called Shalika, is more traditional. She's a pastry chef who loves trashy romance novels and who runs a shop at an old-fashioned neighborhood in Nakhon Chai Si. The younger sister is more of a free spirit who runs away with a man in her teens before reconnecting with her family and with Pran. Pran is the man, the musician who's prone to heartbreak and melancholy. So he's the main man in the book. So basically, it's a perfect material for prime time soap opera, but one that was written with a great literary ambition, a sophisticated upgrade of a material we grew up watching as, after primetime news, a drama series. And this is something done with intrigue and with luminosity and with such great puzzling sensation. And well, that's the job that I was entrusted with, to convey all of this into another language, into English. I've talked a little bit about the performative quality of translation, and there's a debate whether a translator should be a native speaker of the destination language or a native speaker of the source language. I really don't know the answer. I don't think there's a definitive answer to that question. I just believe that the performance that I talk about goes both ways. So to deeply understand the context, the subtext, and all the sensory codes and emotional clues in the source language is as important and difficult as the need to find an equivalence of those clues and codes and meanings in the destination language. Okay, let's go into the book. Let's talk about some examples. And to do that is to be reminded over and over again of my own limitation and of the fundamental limitation imposed by the differences between the Thai and English language. Okay, let's see. Okay, what we have here. Okay, this is a brief Thai paragraph. I was asked to do a 50-minute talk, and I think if I read about 10 pages of the book, I can fill up 45 minutes already, so I should be okay. So that's the plan. Okay, this is the original Thai version. Okay, I'm going to read it, and then I do the English translation. This is a passage about Shariya, the younger sister, as a child. Okay, we go. ขณะที่ชาริยาซึ่งอ่อนกว่า3 ปีกลับใช้วันทั้งวันหมดไปกับการไล่ล่าสิ่งมีชีวิตปริศนาที่ส่งเสียงอยู่ในสวนกระท้อนจับแมวเด็กหย่อนท้องร่องเพื่อสอนให้มันรู้จักว่ายน้ำซุ่มลักพาตัวลูกปลาช่อนตัวแดงก่ำมาเป็นตัวประกันเพื่อจะแอบดูแม่มันคลุ้มคลั่งไม่ก็ขุดดินสีต่างๆตามริมแม่น้ำเอามาปั้นเป็นกบ Okay, let's see the English and what I'm trying to achieve by raising this example. Okay, Shariya, 3 years younger, spent her days hunting strange creatures with strange cries in the Stanto orchard, or putting a kitten in a ditch to teach her to swim, or kidnapping deep red baby snakehead fish to provoke their mother's wrath, or digging up clumps of earth in various colors from the riverbank to sculpt frogs. Seemingly simple, straightforward passage. In the Thai original, for me at least, the aroma of damp earth after the rain is so fresh. So fresh because the writer here evokes childhood games that most Thais who grew up in the 70s and 80s can relate to. This is an obvious example to me at least of how the English version can capture the necessary meaning, but in my mind it's impossible, or maybe I'm not good enough, to translate those underlying cultural nostalgia and geographical intimacy. The damp earth to me becomes a little bit too dry, and the frogs do not seem to croak in the English version. I don't know how you feel about it. To me, the most difficult word here, to me, is a very simple word. Graton. Graton is a Thai fruit. And if you don't know graton, it's impossible. Even if you have an English word for graton, which is santol, I can easily just put santol. Suan graton, santol orchard. But to me, the word santol is connected to so many things. You know, to my mother eating it when I was a child, to the smell, to the look of it, to the physical object of graton and what it reminds me of, because this is the fruit that, you know, it's not as common as mangoes or bananas, but still it's not uncommon either. You can find it anywhere, but it's somehow it has a special feel about the word graton in Thai, that when you read it in English, santol, it's different. I don't know how to put it, but that's how I feel when I was doing this paragraph. The easiest word is the most difficult to translate or difficult to convey all the cultural or historical baggage that comes with it. Okay, this is the first example. I have a few here. So, so the process of trying to dream in English has begun for me. But it's not enough to just dream in English. I also have to dream it in the same rhythm as the author is dreaming in Thai. So Veeraporn's style is lush and rich and breathless. She strings words together and she stretches the near lawlessness of the Thai language to its poetic extreme. Again, as every student of translation knows, the Thai language has no punctuation. It has no comma, no full stop, no dash. There are only spaces between sentences. But yet, clauses and sentences and words grow next to one another. It's a very pliable language, very elastic, sometimes ungovernable, and susceptible to being exploited to great effects in the hand of masterful writers. Thai words can be dissembled and reassembled, deconstructed and reconstructed. There are a lot of compound words where two loan words are put together to various linguistic functions. And Kun Veeraporn does this a lot in the book. But the English language is different. It's a very structured language, with exception, of course. But we're not talking about James Joyce or Tristram Shandy or things like that, or Marlon James, which I really like. So the English is a very structured language. And since the Blind Earthworm still belongs to the classical genre of novel, I have to establish some sort of structure to the sentences and the paragraphs, to sort through the free-flowing lyricism and give it a rhythm. I think this is one of the hardest parts, to transform Thai text, when you transform a Thai text into another language, which is to find the right beat that is both faithful to the original and yet conform to the grammatical structure of the destination language. Okay, so here's the next example. Okay, again in Thai. Because a gentleman has asked me for a talk to please read it out in Thai, because he has read the English version and he is wondering how it sounds like in Thai. So I'm going to read it. น่าจะเป็นในราวๆปีที่แม่ตายไม่ก็หลังจากนั้นเล็กน้อยระหว่างช่วงยามที่ชรยายังตั้งใจว่าจะเป็นนักสำรวจผู้ยิ่งใหญ่และชอบเดินท่อมๆในสวนรอบๆซึ่งกลายเป็นของเพื่อนบ้านไปหมดแล้วเพื่อเก็บตัวอย่างหินแร่ธาตุสร้างทางโบราณคดีสัตว์ประหลาดรวมทั้งแมลงตกสำรวจแห่งลุ่มน้ำนครชัยศรีมีขวดแยมเปล่าผูกเชือกคล้องคอกับแว่นขยายพลาสติกอันเล็กๆที่เขายืมคุณยายเจิดข้างบ้านมาถืออยู่ในมือเพิ่งจะรุ่งสางและสวนหน้าบ้านก็ยังมีน้ำค้างเปียกปอนตอนที่เธอไปเจอแมงมุมตัวนั้นเข้าที่ต้นส้มโอต้นหนึ่ง To get a full flavor, you have to read this passage in a breathless stride. You have to leave as little spaces between them as possible. Yes, there are gaps between sentences. There are space, there are gaps. But to find the rhythm, you have to leave as little space between each clause as possible. And I had to be careful not to miss a beat nor the meaning of all the little adjectives and color words sprinkled in between. And this is something I have to do in nearly every page of the book. Okay, so this is the English version. It must have been the year mother died or sometime later, not long after Sharia decided to pursue the career of a great explorer and patrol the orchards, which by then belonged to the neighbors, to collect samples of rocks, minerals, archaeological relics, fossilized monsters, and unclassifiable insects of the Nakhon Chai River, putting them in an empty jam jar slung around her neck with a plastic magnifying glass borrowed from Grandma Jet next door. Her expeditions beginning at dawn when the gardens were still wet with dew. It must have been around that time that Sharia found a spider in the pomelo tree. Of course, in the English version, you have all sorts of punctuation. You have commas, and I put 2 dashes. It's impossible to do this without dashes. Whereas in the Thai text, you don't need anything. You can cram everything together, and it still works very, very well. But in the English language, I have to put so many devices, so many, like I said, punctuation cues to break up the sentences. And of course, as you can see, in the Thai language, and this is how I try to stick closely to the original. Kun Veeraporn wrote this passage with a string of preceding clauses. I don't know the formal name. I think it's a preceding clauses. It's a deliberately run-on fragments that delight and distract, and it describes as well as dallies before arriving at the main sentence in the very last line. That Chariya finds the spider in the pomelo tree. That's the main sentence. The rest is preceding clauses. So it's clear that I cannot break up the sentence and the pacing. And I had to try to find a way to, put everything, all the little details in one long sentence with all the helpers, the commas and the dashes along the way. So this is what it looks like. I even put, ellipsis, right? The ellipsis, which is a little bit of a sheet, but I can't remember why we decided to make it look like that. I would prefer it without the ellipsis. But anyway, there's so many things we have to decide with my editor, Sarah Rooney, who cannot be here today, but she's a great editor, and we had a very fun time working together on this book. So I think this is a passage that can exemplify the difference in the Thai and the English language. And I would say even between the Thai and the European language, the Latin, Romanic, Germanic languages, and the Thai language, when the structure and the roots of how that language works is so fundamentally different. Okay. I have more. Like I said, I have to fill up the 50 minutes. So this is a pomelo tree, right? I had a visitor from the US, from New York, just last week, and he visited the film archive, and we took him to the floating market near the film archive, and it's the first time he sees a pomelo. He ate one before, but when he sees the thing, he's very excited. And as I said before, the fact that you know a pomelo tree makes a difference when you read about a pomelo tree or a pomelo fruit. Yeah. And of course, Nakhon Chai-Si is famous for pomelos. Okay. We can go to the next example. Okay. Okay. What I'm trying to say with this one. Okay. ราวกับหยิบจับเส้นไหมบอบบางเอาไว้ได้แค่ปลายนิ้วพลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัดอยู่กลางสายลมระรื่นแต่ไม่คาดฝันกลับเลื่อนรื้นปลิดคว้างร้างหายไปตลอดกาลท่วงทำนองงดงามค่อยๆทอดจบลงอ่อนหวานเงียบงัน That's the Thai text. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is the words, the vocabulary, and as I said before, how the Thai language, how Thai words can be disassembled, and reassembled, and you can put together loan words and make up new words, and this is what Kun Veeraporn does a lot. Okay, for example, พลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัด Okay, พลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัด in Thai, you have like all these verbs. They are all verbs, but she put all these verbs together, and พลิกพลิ้ว Okay, I think I have this. พลิก พลิ้วปลิวสะบัด they are all verbs. In English you cannot put like 4 verbs together, but in Thai you can put 15 verbs together if you have the nerve. But พลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัด so 4 verbs together. But of course in English I cannot do 4 verbs. Yeah, another twisty one. กลับเลื่อนรื้นปลิดคว้างร้างหาย now it's how many 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 verbs together. Of course you cannot do that in English, but that's how the Thai language works. This is of course for poetic effects, for lyrical effects, for rhyming. It rhymes. When you put all this together they rhyme very well. พลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัดอยู่กลางสายลมระรื่นแต่ไม่คาดฝันกลับเลื่อนรื้นปลิดคว้างร้างหาย Okay, in English it's very well, of course I try, but this is how I arrived at the translation. Like fingertips holding a diaphanous silk thread that flutters. You see, I can only use flutter. I can do flings and flutters and flies, but well, that's editorial decision. We don't want to overwhelm the readers. We don't want to make it, unnecessary poetic in the English language. When in Thai you can do that, and no one will blame you for that. Like fingertips holding a diaphanous silk thread that flutters in the wind and slips away without a warning, to be blown away forever. The beautiful melody gradually came to a sweet silence. This, the 6 compound verb became slips away without a warning, to be blown away, which is very awkward, very clumsy. Well, maybe there will be a second translation by another person if anyone is interested. So, but this is an example of the challenges and what I have to confront almost every page in the book. The way words are constructed, and I think Thai writers do this a lot, not just in poetry but also in prose writing. Okay, I think I have the yeah I already explained all of this, but this is just another slide. หยิบจับ หยิบจับ are two words I mean put together. You can use only หยิบ, the first one, or จับ, but then she puts them together. พลิกพลิ้วปลิว as I said before, พลิกพลิ้วปลิวสะบัด actually there are more, and you have เลื่อนรื้นปลิดคว้างร้างหาย 5-6 verbs together, and in English it became, as you can see, much less convoluted, but also much less poetic. So I have to achieve the poetic quality through something else, through rhythm, I mean, it's my intention from the start that I would try to stick to the structure of the Thai source instead of doing a paraphrasing or a summary of the paragraph, which I have seen before in the translation of many Thai texts. When you cannot stick to, when the translator cannot do it, sentence by sentence, sometimes they decide to summarize the meaning of the whole paragraph or the whole passage. So what I was trying to do was to translate the book, if not word by word, then phrase by phrase, or sentence by sentence, or clause by clause, like when you translate a poem, not word by word, but phrase by phrase. It's not always possible, as I have shown you here, and many times it means I have to sacrifice. That's the feeling that I'm sure all translators feel. Sacrifice the 100% accuracy and faithfulness in order to achieve other things, such as a more balanced tempo, the music of the paragraph, the natural feel when you read it in English. But as I said, I refuse to do a summary or a paraphrasing of any paragraph and try to stick closely to the structure of the Thai text. Okay, another example. For some reason, I like this one. และคืนต่อมาชานนท์ก็ต้องพบตัวเองยืนแน่นิ่งสิ้นเรี่ยวแรงอยู่ในกลางถาโถมโอบล้อมของท่วงทำนองเว้าวอนอ่อนหวานรันทดของบรามส์เฝ้ามองผู้คนวิ่งพล่านฝ่าฝนพรำตามหาความรักไปบนทางเท้าเบื้องหลังบานกระจก sorry it's a typo เบื้องหลังบานกระจกที่มีหยาดน้ำเกาะพราว the italics are mine again I just want to emphasize all this crazy compound verbs ยืนแน่นิ่งสิ้นเรี่ยวแรง see so beautiful in Thai ยืนแน่นิ่งสิ้นเรี่ยวแรงกลางถาโถมโอบล้อมกลางถาโถมโอบล้อมเว้าวอนอ่อนหวานรันทดวิ่งพล่านฝ่าฝนพรำ that one is not too difficult but the hardest one I think is the กลางถาโถมโอบล้อมif you take out each word it means different things but when you put them together it means they all mean they make up a new meaning okay in English the following night Shannon found his life force drained from his body as he stood smothered by the melody of Brahms' sweetly tragic symphony and watched through the 1,000 raindrops that covered the glass storefront. People chasing love in the rain on the footpath outside. Again, another example of the limitation based on how the English language works. Klang Tha Thom Ob Rom, the difficult combination of words became stood smother. Well, yeah, it became just smothered by the melody of Brahms' sweetly tragic symphony. ยืนแน่นิ่งสิ้นเรี่ยวแรง A literal translation would be stand still without energy. He stands still without energy. But I put it like this: Shannon found his life force drained from his body. Less poetic, but I think it conveys it helps you visualize the scene better. Because he's struck by love, right? This is a love-struck scene, a man being hit by, overwhelming feeling. So his life force drained. Well, a little bit of a interpretation, but well. And ถาโถมโอบล้อม smother, and again the dash to help me break up the sentence, because in Thai you just have to go through this passage in one breath to achieve the full power of it. As I said before, a translator is a mind reader, because I have to guess, I have to interpret not just the words but the intention of the writer. I mean, of course, I can call Kun Veeraporn up to ask her what she means, but it would be very unpractical to do it with every page. So, in effect, I have to try to interpret what she's trying to achieve in each passage. Which word is the most important in that sentence? Sometimes the passage is about the plot. Sometimes it's about the characters. Sometimes it's about nothing. Sometimes it's just she wants to entertain the readers. And I have to be alert to every emotional register that the text is trying to telegraph to the readers. I've talked a lot about challenges, and I hope you get the picture of what I have to go through. But in the end, I would say this is a fun book to read and to translate. To read, of course, because in Thai it sells a lot. In English, I don't know. We can talk about it later, but I don't think we have finished our first run print. I had a lot of fun. At first, I had the least fun. When I had to do the emotional or tragic scenes. When someone dies or weeps or being betrayed, where hearts are broken or where fate consumes everyone. Those are good passages, of course, in Thai. But I find it difficult because I have to resort to the familiar words and phrasing in English. But on the contrary, I had a lot of fun when Veeraporn goes cinematic. The Blind Earthworm in the Labyrinth has many passages that were written in the style of cinematic scene sketching, as if the author was visualizing her words and readying them for a film script. Actually, someone wanted to make a film about it. I don't know what happened to it now, and it would be a shame if we don't get to see the film made from this book. Because as I said, the author has already visualized most of the important scenes, most of the important episodes in the life of the characters. So when I do all this cinematic scene, and because of my background in film and filmmaking, I feel very connected to these parts the most. In these passages, the mood and the gesture are so vivid. And sometimes I feel like I could type out the word without having to stop for a comma. Okay, let's look at another example that I really like. And in Thai, when I first read this passage, I thought it was very difficult to translate, but it turns out to be very easy. Okay, this. No, sorry, not this one. Here. This is when Chariya is taking her lover Pran out on an excursion in Bangkok. ไม่อย่างนั้นเธอก็จะพาเขาออกตระเวนล่าอาหารเดินเทิงๆกันตามตลาดชานเมืองเพื่อหาซื้อดอกนิ้วแห้งแมงดาดองน้ำปลาน้ำบูดูกุ้งจ่อมไม่ก็ไปยืนแล้วรับล่อขอซื้อผงชูมักที่มีสีม่วงเหมือนด่างทับทิมกับกลิ่นหอมอ่อนโยนราวกับลมฝนแห่งอาระเบียเอาหลังร้านขายพรมของคนปากีทีหนึ่งยังพาเขาเข้าไปยังตรอกซอมซ่อกลางเยาวราชเพื่อบากหน้าขอซื้อถั่วลิสงเอากับซิมชราหน้างอก่อนจะเลยเถิดเข้าไปในอีกตรอกเพื่อซื้อเส้นบะหมี่จากโรงงานที่กบดานซับซ้อนขนาดต้องเดินเข้าหน้าบ้านทะลุออกหลังบ้านใครต่อใครต่อกันถึง3หลังแล้วยังเดินวนอีกพักใหญ่กว่าจะไปถึงบานเฟี้ยมไม้ซึ่งมีหมอกพวยพุ่งออกมาเวลาเปิดและจนฝุ่นขาวนั่นระเหิดหายจึงเห็นชายกำยำนับ10ยืนสะบัดก้อนแป้งให้เป็นเส้นอย่างเกลี้ยกล่อมราวกับพระเศร้าหลินอยู่ข้างในOkay, the English. It's a little bit too small. Sometimes she would take him on a culinary expedition, leading him on foot around some fresh market on the city outskirts to look for dry red cotton tree flowers, or horseshoe crabs fermented in fish sauce, or southern boodoo sauce, or salted baby shrimps, or they would hang around a Pakistani rug shop trying to buy sumac powder, as violet as potassium permanganate, and as delicately aromatic as rain carried on an Arabian wind. Once she took him along a squalid alley in Chinatown, so she could beg an old hostile Chinese grandmother to sell them peanut oil, and then onwards to buy egg noodles from a chop-house factory hidden so impregnably within a maze of nameless alleys that they had to walk through 3 houses belonging to people they didn't know, then zigzag some more before reaching shuttered doors through which white clouds of steam billowed when open, and behind which a dozen muscular topless workers were violently flinging dough into long strips, an image that reminded Pran of Shaolin monks in a practice session. Very cinematic, don't you think? This is basically a scene in a movie. The walking, the details of the objects, the food, and especially the later part, when they when they are going to buy egg noodles from Shop House Factory, zigzagging through alleys of Chinatown. So, not just to talk about challenges, I just want to talk about the pleasure of doing this, the pleasure of translating something like this. And also this that I skipped. Again, I'm sorry, this is, I jumped over this. This is again both an example of the cinematic way she describes the scene as well as, again, the compound words and verbs and nouns that she put together. This is a description of the mural painting at Wat Sutat. Okay, we can go quickly because this is, again, at first I thought it would be very difficult, but it turned out to be not that difficult because it's descriptive, eloquent, but also lyrical and full of something that you cannot change. You just have to just copy into English. So she's describing the mural painting that the two characters are watching and talking about. I've never seen this mural. Have you? With the whale and the European junk. And I found this photo which I'm sure is not the same. Right? ไม่ใช่ใช่ไหมครับพี่ ไม่เป็นไรครับ It's okay. It's just another example. Okay. Another example of her the cinematic quality of the book. Again, this is the passage that I really like, and at first I thought it would be difficult, but then it became very easy to translate. This is the passage concerning Pran, the musician, the man, when he travels with his father on a train as a child. และจนเสาร์อาทิตย์บางสัปดาห์หรือปิดเทอมนั้นแล้วปานก็จึงจะได้รอนแรมไปในรถไฟกับพ่ออีกครั้งนั่งมองโลกพร่างผ่านหน้าไปเงียบๆทุ่งนาเขียวขจีที่เรียงกันเป็นตารางเหมือนขนมสาลี่ในถาดขนาดมหึมา sorry a typo หุ่นไล่กายืนกลางแขนในเปลวแดดระยิบคอยกระดิกนิ้วพลิ้วระรัวยั่วเขาฝูงเงาตามสถานีโรงร้างยามดึกซึ่งจะพากันคึกขนองโลดเต้นเป็นโอลหม่านเมื่อรถไฟมาแล้วรีบกระโดดกลับไปยืนแข็งนิ่งไม่ไหวติงอีกครั้งทันทีที่รถไฟไปจันเสี้ยที่เกี่ยวตัวตรงเตงอยู่กับความมืดเหมือนเล็บมือของยักษ์ที่ถูกตัดกระเด็นฟิวไปในอากาศและดวงไฟน้อยใหญ่นับพันยื้อแย่งกันสาดแสงอึกกระทึกออกมาจากตลาดเช้าที่มองเห็นอยู่ไกลๆในรุ่งสางซึ่งดึงดูดใจปานนักหนาไปจนตลอดชีวิตข้างหน้าโอเค very cinematic in Thai and hopefully in English as well. Only on some weekends and summer breaks did Pran rejoin his father in his railway nomadism. On the train, he sat staring at the world flashing by in a quiet blur, at verdant fields laid out in a checkerboard pattern that resemble fluffy sali in their trays. Sali, again, another typo. At scarecrows with arms outstretched in the blinding heat, wiggling their fingers as if to tease him. At the forest of shadows on a lonely platform in the dead of night, stirred into bustling motion when the train approached and resuming motionlessness once it had passed. And the crescent moon dangling in the sky like dismembered claw of a giant. The boy stared at thousands of light bulbs, big and small, all competing to illuminate morning markets in the distance and tempting his heart with the vision of a future that lay ahead. One of the best description of Thai rural landscape, I would say. I think we are coming to the last part, and right, I have to stick closely to the time, right? Because we have a Q&A at the end. Actually, you can ask anything you want to know from the author who is here. Kun Veeraporn is here, so you don't have to ask me. If you have any question, you can ask him. Okay, I have a few more slides. The next picture, this picture is ดอกปีบใช่ไหมครับ is ดอกปีบนะฮะ or Indian cork. And we have this is ผู้จอมพล another flower featured in the book. Red powder puff flower. And this is lampu tree. Lampu tree is what? Mangrove apple. Of course, I have to look it up. This is a book in which color, sound, and smell crossbreed with each other in an attempt to create a new sensation. I think that's what Kun Veeraporn is trying to do. One of the decisions I and my editor, Sarah Rooney, who did such a wonderful job, of course, the decision we had to make was whether to use the English names for the hundreds of flowers mentioned in the book, or to use the transliterated form from the original Thai. This is not just a question of consistency or editorial format. It's what I said earlier about the untranslatable quality of things that exist in your mind, the things that connote something more than meaning. Because the name of a flower, just like the fruit I mentioned before, the name of a flower can conjure up much more than its color, especially when Kun Veeraporn overwhelms us with so many of them. A mention of a flower also connects us to its smell, its mood, the definition of its name, and sometimes to a specific memory. And this is an example of how a translated version of any text has to contend and accept the limitation and inherent obstacles in the process. In the end, we ended up using both the English common name for some flowers and also the transliterated form for others. And we also include a full botanical list of all the local plants mentioned in the book with common names and scientific names. So, well, you have the full information at the end anyway. This untranslatable thing, this lost in translation syndrome, this necessary evil of omission. This brings me to my final point, which is exactly about the book or about my translation in particular. I think this is about the status of Thai literature in the consciousness of non-Thai readers around the world. The fundamental and historical and linguistic differences between the Thai language and the Latin, Roman, Germanic languages, such as English, is an inevitable gulf that translators have to cross to find a way to bridge not just the vocabulary but also the historical weight that is inherently attached to every word. The market and the interest for English translation of Thai novels is very small. There's a statistics quote by, I think, Asian Nikkei recently in an article about this book that it's an official statistics from a tracker. I think in the US, 363 books published in Japanese. I mean, Japanese literature translated to English, 363 since 2008, followed by Chinese, 254, Korea, 141. Even Asia's laggards, I mean, some of, not the literary giant in Asia, do better than Thailand. 18 Indonesian books translated into English and published in the US. 12 in Hindi. And 9 Vietnamese books made the list over the same period. Thailand, none, 0. Why is it like this? The explanation varies, I think, such as the fact that Western or English language readers do not look at Thailand as a place of literary sophistication. When talking about Asian literature, of course, it's Japan, India, China. Even Singapore or Malaysia fare better. Or as my friend and writer Prabdayun observed, Thailand has never been known for any big narrative that concerns the rest of the world. And if I may add, the fact that Thai literature does not belong to the post-colonial studies the fact that we don't have the ability to dream in English, voluntarily or not, since the language has never been imposed on us, as in, say, Singapore, Malaysia, means we lack a connection to the language and its numerous readers. Well, just an hour ago, the Nobel Prize in Literature was announced. Did you know the winners? There are two this year. Peter Handke from Germany. Oh, Austria. He's Austrian. Peter Handke. And Olga Tokarczuk from Poland. She won the Booker Prize 2 years ago, I think, and now she's got a big one, the Nobel. So two winners from Central Europe. 2 years ago it was Ishiguro, who's Japanese but he writes in English. But look at the list of the Nobel Prize winner who's not native English speaker. You only have like the Japanese, right? The Chinese. So I dreamed that one day we will have a Thai writer on the shortlist, at least. And I started this talk by toying with the idea of a non-English native trying to dream in English, to dream in a language that is not your mother tongue. So to do that and to put the Thai writers on the Nobel shortlist, we need a lot of translators who can do that, who can dream in English, in order to lift the status of Thai literature. Because it is strange if you think about it, strange and frustrating, that Thailand has a lot of internationally renowned filmmakers, pop singers, musicians, visual artists. And their arts need no translator because they exist in a universal language, or at least worldly language. But literature, which is supposed to be the pinnacle of a national culture and artistic expression, something grand and something closest to the essence of society. We have the Nobel Prize in Literature. We don't have the Nobel Prize in cinema or music. Thank God one day maybe they've set it up, but let's not go that far. So it's strange and frustrating that Thai novels hardly exist in the consciousness of the world. Lately we have seen more English translation of contemporary Thai novels, and that's good news. Kun Mui Phupaksa-kun, who lives in the US, Kun Mui is a very good translator who's done a few books by Prap Dayun, a contemporary Thai writer, and also she just put out 2 translation of Dien Wat, a Thai writer, and she has American publishers which helped a lot in raising the profile. Marcel Barang, as I said before, has pioneered this many years before when I was still in school. Kun Marcel, who's done a lot to Thai literature in the past decades. But still, it's not enough. We need more dreamers of real and electric Thesaurus. And we need it not just to play in a Nobel Prize game or to upgrade our literary market game. It's not just that. Because the Nobel Prize game or the literary market game is just one way of cultural imperialism, if you ask me. But we need it to assert our presence in the atlas of the world literature, just like our filmmakers have done with the atlas of world cinema, or our visual artists have done at international art biennales around the world. The difference between the Thai language and the Latin, Roman, Germanic languages, again, is an inevitable gulf that we have to cross. But as long as Thai writers continue to write and to dream, we translators, we keep trying to dream in another language and to bridge the gulf and to open the door of Thai reality and fantasies to the readers of the world. Thank you. Kun Lia, I think I need to answer questions or
yes.
Did readers share their
we now have
comments?
a Q&A session, so please feel free. But can I ask the first one, please? Because I bought your book and I've been reading it back and forth for the last 3 weeks. And what I would like to ask you, Kun Kong, is this is a very hands-on translation. At any stage in the process of rendering from Thai into English, did you tell yourself, have I gone too far? How far is this from the original? Because, they said the hallmark of a translation is, can you guess if it was written in another language? And I think it's quite difficult, except for the odd bits of Thai. Like, I feel like you left Lampu, the tree, and other times you did. So, did you ever think, have I gone too far?
As I said in the presentation, the idea of going too far really didn't cross my mind. I think it's the opposite. Am I going far enough? Was I able to capture everything that I need to capture? No, I don't think I think the main concern, because this is such a rich and an overwhelming book in many senses, in many ways, I think the problem is trying to match that level of lush and rich style rather than going over it, because it will be impossible to go beyond what the writer has done in this case, because the original text as it exists is okay. To put it simply, I think it's easier to read the English version than the Thai version, because the Thai you need a lot of concentration. You can't skip a word. You just have to lose yourself into the text. In the English language, I think, I simplified it a little bit. Again, as I said before, with the punctuation, with the necessary additions of commas and dashes and all the devices. But to go beyond the text, the original text, I don't think it's within my capability to do it, to pull it off, even if I wanted.
Thank you. The examples you gave in your lecture were narrative and style. And I don't know if that means there's not dialogue in the novel or not, but you've also translated movie scripts. How do you handle things like slang when you're doing translations and people are talking in dialogue?
Yes, exactly. The book has very little dialogue. As someone who has read it will know, it has very little dialogue, and the little dialogue that Kun Veeraporn wrote is merged into the paragraph. So she uses italics to indicate spoken words, dialogue, and not quotation marks. So that's her style, because there are not that many dialogues in the entire book, very, very few. And the question about slangs, again, luckily, because this book is written in the classical literary style, not with many slangs, or virtually no slangs. Had the book been written in a slangy, more contemporary style, that would have been more difficult for me. I might have rejected the job, because I don't think I can do something like that. I do a lot of movie scripts, but and I do a lot of subtitles as well. But how to put it? Thai films are not very good at writing dialogue, so it's never been that much of a problem for me, because usually it's exposition. It's not dialogue, as in like Woody Allen or some French film when people say something then it means something else. Very little of that. Only with some good filmmakers. Thai films dialogue is very expositional. Just want to explain things, what happened, who's doing what. So basically it's easier to do that. But so when I have to do movie scripts that possess more level of sophistication, then I'm very happy. And I've done that quite a few with, like for example, filmmakers such as Ben Ek, Ratana Reung. I did 1 or 2 for Apichat Pong, and yeah, some other people. But luckily, this book doesn't have that many slangs and dialogue. Khap.
Hi. Sorry, I don't really have my voice here with me, but I read the Thai version, and I remember one part that hasn't been mentioned a bit quite here is that this is actually a very musical text in that you have a soundtrack to the book. So Kun Veeraporn talks a lot about music, right? Of course, the hero is a musician. So there's references to a lot of these songs. And I remember there was a book talk in one of the book festivals a few years back when the book just won the C. Right? It was done by my brother and my brother-in-law. And they asked her, because there's like parts in the novel where the characters sing, suddenly like burst out into song, right? It's like la 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 or something in there in Thai. And so they asked, my brother asked her, can you sing that for us? Like, how is it sung? And I remember, I'm not sure if she just refused to sing it because it was an annoying question, or if she really didn't think of it as a song when it's written. But my guess is that if the reader knows the music that Kun Veeraporn refers to in the book, you would get an idea of the rhythm more. So, of course, I hardly know any of the music that she refers to in the book at all. So could you maybe talk a bit about this? I mean, how much research did you have to do, or is it just what sophisticated people know already, this music? Yes.
Well, I thought you were going to ask me to sing. So that's a relief. Yes, there are 2 lists at the end of the book. One is the botanical list. We list all the plants mentioned in the book, and also we list the music mentioned in the book. And exactly, there are a lot of music, mostly classical music, but also some contemporary music mentioned in the book. Well, research. Actually, I know quite a bit about classical music. Most of the pieces Kun Veeraporn mentioned, I know. Not by heart, but I know most of them. I even disagree with some of her description of the music, but of course I have to stick with her, how she described those pieces. So again, that's, a lot of people think that would be the hard part, the challenging part, but to me it's quite straightforward. Because again, her description is very, very lyrical and descriptive and very evocative, and I just follow what she writes. So the music part is actually a very pleasant part when I work on the book. Now that you mention it, I didn't play the music when I was doing the book. I thought of doing that, but I didn't get a chance to do it. But I was thinking, should I play this while I'm doing this page, this passage? But I didn't do it. She mentions the Khao as well. The Khao, Picture of You by the Khao. Great song. And U2, I think there's one song by U2. So clearly, Kun Veeraporn is well, to talk about music. A lot of people ask me how I study English, how I came to be able to write English or make a living from writing English at the Bangkok Post and here and something else. I think a lot. I compare language to music, basically. If someone in Thailand can play Beethoven, even though he was not born in Vienna or in German, then someone in Thailand should be able to write English. The same way that Thai band can play Beethoven. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. It doesn't have anything to do with where you were born. It is the quality of the music, it's the quality of the language that reels you in, that makes you become part of it. So if we have a lot of great pianists, so I hope to become someone who can write or communicate in English the same way that a Thai person can communicate with his playing the piano. So again, it's a pleasure to do the music part in the book. ครับ ครับอาจารย์
I noticed it's very clear to everybody who reads how there's a going back and forth between these very luxurious and rich descriptions of meals that they ate, or almost anything, such as you described in these the passages that you raised. The description is it's just so rich and so it's splendidly fascinating. And then juxtaposed with that are these passages where the characters are so miserable and they suffer, they just this depths of misery that they experience. And I wondered about the language that you used. You had to deal with both of these kinds of experiences. I just wondered how you dealt with that. Or am I? Perhaps I'm overreacting to these.
As I said, ครับอาจารย์ May I ask, did you read the Thai version as well?
No. I'm reading
version?
the English version. I'm not finished.
As I said before, I enjoy doing the sunny part more than the miserable part. So I think that's the answer in itself. Well, to translate is to create something, I think. But at the same time, I cannot see myself as a creator of the work, because the creator is the writer. So I'm in her shadow all the way. I allow her to lead me wherever she wants to take me, because I have to position myself as a reader as well. Of course, I enjoy some parts more than others. But when she takes me down, when she plunges me into the depth of misery and the abyss of tears and 1,000 heartbreaks a person can suffer in one's lifetime, I just go with her. And it's a map. I mean, the text is a map. I just follow the map written by the writer, and I have to stick with the path defined by the author. So I did not feel the difference between the luxurious parts and the miserable parts, the depressing parts, because I just follow the text wherever it takes me. And I was not conscious of that, if that answers the question.
Yes. Okay. I imagine the people here mainly who speak English as a mother tongue, but I was really interested because normally many translated books people translate into their own language. So I find someone like you. I personally do not know anyone who translated the book not into our own language. And then I also come from the background where I didn't speak any language. I speak in my own language. And then I simply wonder how, because I think it's important for the next generation who do not speak English as a first language. Although nowadays I see many international children, they have the opportunity to learn English at the school, but at the same time there are differences in the poverty, and then I always want to encourage that the richness of the language do not necessarily come from the education background. And then what I find with your English, I have been the reader of the writings for many years. I think what you have written has given so much fascination and strength. And I mean, I'm still so behind, but to have someone like you was amazing example. How have you made this so far? Not only from your vast interest into films, but I'm as a parent, and also I want to encourage the younger generation. I'm just simply curious, what made you be like the way you are so far? And is that from something coming? You think it's something coming from your family background, or even if you say that your parents do not speak English, there must be something. I mean, not just necessarily just the language itself, but something's really rich in your family, I think. And I wonder, maybe it's a bit different from today's context, but I'm very interested so that I can maybe pass on your passion to the younger generation who may not be educated in English as a first language, but because I think it's important to keep our own mother tongue, especially if you are not born as an English speaker. So am I clear? Yeah, sorry.
Thank you so much. I really don't know how to answer that. I still dream in Thai, mostly in color and in Thai, not black and white. I really don't know how to answer that, but as I said in the presentation, I think it's a performance, and I just hope you will never catch me during the act. I'm pretending, but I just hope you will not catch me doing the pretending. And I just have to keep practicing to be able to hide from all of you the fact that I go home and I speak Thai. And I haven't spoken English the whole day until I came here. I had a few meetings today and it's all in Thai, and I had to write a few things and it's all in Thai. Well, like I said about music, I think it's just something I can do. If I didn't do this, I might have been, some people who are very good at like soccer or football or basketball, they're just good at it. Maybe they started early, maybe they have a good coach, maybe they have the physique to do it. Some people are very good at music, regardless of where they're from or whether their parents are good at music or not. They're very good at music, and because of so many different factors. And I never really thought about it. But of course, a lot of people ask me. So I had to start thinking about it. And I have no answer. But I thought it was a combination of many things. My own interest, my own passion, the fact that I've read a lot, and the fact that I was lucky enough to be at the Bangkok Post during its heyday, when they allow me to explore and to do what I want. So I write every day. When I was at the Bangkok Post, I wrote every day. So that's a good practice, and one thing leads to another. I guess. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that's the closest that I can help you.
Does anybody else have another question?
I know that you have read very widely because your command of the English vocabulary is phenomenal. It's extraordinary.
Thank you.
And I talked to you once before. You remember?
Yes, I remember. Yes, at some
Central
functions.
World.
Yes.
Yeah. And I asked you at the time where you had lived or studied abroad. You said never. So then I thought, oh, golly, amazing. So your command of vocabulary is not only extraordinary, it's also very musical.
Thank you. Thank you. I think all arts aspire to have the quality of music. I think literature wants to be music. I think movies, cinema wants to be music. So, yeah, that's what I agree, and that's why a lot of comparison to music, because I think it's, the music is the only art, I think, where the form and the content is the same thing. The form and the content is the same in music, and I think that's what literature wants to be. And, well, sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't.
Thank you so much, Kong.
You.
It has
Thank
been
you.
a great pleasure to have you here. And personally, I thought those statistics you gave us about the publications rendered into English among the Asian languages, they make for some very sad reading, don't they? 0 titles translated from Thai into English. So hopefully a few years from now, we can say easily a few every year. And now if anybody has bought a copy of the book, I think Kong and Kun Veeraporn would be glad to sign them for you. Thank you.